So we've got a great group and hungry agents. So Stan, I'll let you take it away with sharing your story and getting into the content.
Okay, so my name is Stan Larimer. So very excited to be with everyone today. I've been in this for, gosh, I got licensed March of 2014. So just over 7 years. So, and I remember that exactly. 2014, I was sitting right where you guys are sitting. And I came from another sales career and I was very anxious. I was nervous, anxious, and excited. So if you guys are either one of those, nervous, anxious, and excited, you're at the right place. So I would always say that nothing, if you're not a little nervous for something new, you're probably not in the right place, because there has to be that nervousness or anxiety. So that's a good thing. So 2014, I came on board. Let me actually back up further. I started selling pest control in 2004 for Moxie Pest Control. Did that for a couple summers. I went to the joke. Then I went to the dark side, AKA alarms. Sold alarms for 4 years, and I really enjoyed that. And then I went back to a friend, and then we became business partners. We started a little pest control company, 2010. We ran that. I ran the sales side. He ran the operations side. And then we had an opportunity to sell that in 2013 to Terminix. And at that point, I realized that, so I was traveling nonstop. I was still single at the time. And I realized that something had to change. I was just kind of doing the same thing. I mean, I loved what I was doing, but I felt kind of complacent. I felt like I was ready to move on, ultimately wanted to start a family. And I've always had a passion for real estate, mainly because a lot of these products I've been selling anyways have been to houses, pest control service, alarm service, camera, video surveillance, that sort of stuff. So I kind of gained this passion for houses. And anyways, 2013, 2014, I had a friend here at Keller Williams, and he said, yeah, come on board. I'll train you. I'll show you the ways, and we can get you in. And so that's when I made the jump. And, but it's different enough. Like, I had some sales skills coming in, but coming to my first year, it was challenging. It was difficult. I didn't have a sphere of influence. I'm going from more of a direct sale to this is like a coaching. You're more like a coach is what you are. So, and your client is your team. That's your team. Well, yeah, that's your team. You want to have them win the day, right? So anyways, first year was rough. I really just gained, it was really just education. I came to learn, and I was like you guys, I was soaking up everything I could, trying to figure it out. Watching listening to podcasts, participating in all these trainings. And my first year, to put in perspective, I only had 5 transactions, which was not many at all. And it was kind of a slow market too, which is just crazy, because everything was so cheap back then, but things were just slow in general. And so year 2, I recommitted, and things just really started to click. And that's where I think I'd sold 20 to, it was maybe about 20 houses or so year 2. So much better. It could have been, well, I'll have to look at that, 16 to 20, something like that. And then year 3 was even better, and things have been better and better since. So the past 12 months, I think I'm about around 60 sales or so, to put in perspective. So somewhere around that. But anyways, that's just a little bit of my background, of my story. And all that has been at Keller Williams. So the reason I came to Keller was just because my friend was here, and I trusted him. And then about a year to 2 years in, when I so I was on his team at first, and then I just realized I was able to generate leads myself, and realized, okay, let's venture on. Let's kind of do my own thing. And so we parted ways on good terms, and I started to form, or I just became independent. But where I'm getting at is that at this point, I'm like, oh, wait, there's all these other brokerages hitting me up. What's the magic with Keller? And that's when I really realized for myself. that Keller is all about culture, all about training, and you get so much support here at Keller. And there's a reason why. I mean, there's a lot of other great, we call them discount brokerages, right? There's great companies. There's, you got Equity Real Estate, and then like there's R&R Realty, some of these others. But anyways, we see a lot of people here that come from there. And you ask them, they're like, wait, why the change? And a lot of it is very similar. That one, I forget his name, older gentleman, but he went on to say that he had never met his broker for the whole 2 years that he had been working for him. He never met the broker, never really got the time of day, never felt the support. And when he met Dean Crandall, who is, by the way, is the best broker in the whole world. So he's awesome. When he met Dean, it was just a total change. He just knew, okay, this is a great man. And then you get to know the culture of KW, and there's a reason why Keller Williams attracts so much talent. There's a reason why we grow the way we do. And not to mention that if Keller Williams, we have a lot of incentive, right? Because we have this capping system, which we'll actually talk a little bit about in this training. But when you cap, there's incentive to sell more and more and more because you keep everything. Okay. So that's the secret to actually blowing out these other discount brokerages. So which we'll talk a little bit more about that. But so that's kind of my story. I didn't mean to ramble on per se, but any questions so far? Or any questions for me at all? Okay. I like to keep this open. I don't like to just be, I don't like to be lecturing. I like this to be conversations. So,
I'll ask you.
Yeah.
First year.
Yeah.
First year, you did 5 deals.
5 deals.
SOI, door knocking.
Oh,
Gen
let's
way.
see here. Probably, let me think, probably 4 of those, probably 3 or 4 was SOI. You're making me think now, what were these transactions? One was my brother, one was my friend. One came, it was like an internet lead. Kind of, I've had some like paid for some internet leads, which are like so.
So all over the place.
Yeah, kind of all over the map.
Just wherever.
Yeah, majority of those were, I think 3 or 4 were essentially SOI.
Okay.
So and next, now the following year, I had several from door knocking. So I decided to. I mean, I had been door knocking for many years. I figured let's take that and apply that to real estate.
It worked.
Well, door knocking can work the wonders. It's a very soft pitch. Like the bottom line, when you knock doors in real estate, you're not asking for a sale. You're just saying, hey, do you know of anyone who is looking to sell in this neighborhood?
Yeah.
And they may say they are themselves, but 8 times out of 10, they're going to say, oh yeah, like those guys over there have been talking about it, or they mentioned something. Yeah, you might want to talk to them. And then, then you go and talk to them and see what's going on. But it's a very soft approach.
Right.
But
Cool.
But yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Good question. Okay. So the lesson today, or the discussion today, is.
Stan,
Oh, yes.
I got the one.
Yes.
Same than before, but where coming from you the deals now, today say?
Right today, probably about, let's see here, probably about 70%. Yeah, maybe about 70% come from my SOI and specifically return clients. So return clients they're gravy. They're the best thing.
So your database, essentially.
Yeah, my database. Oh, sphere of influence. So database. Good question. And when you're in this year 2, year 3, year 4, and you get a client just randomly calls you and says, oh, hey, by the way, we're moving and we need you to sell our house. That's just like, okay, let's do it. No, you don't really get those phone calls as much in year 1, right? Because the people that you have sold, they're not maybe quite ready to sell yet. But once those calls really start coming in year 2, 3, year 3 and 4 especially. And so that's what really helped my SOI. So 70% database, 20%, there's part of a BNI networking group as well, which I don't know if you've heard of that. BNI is amazing for realtors. One of the best networking groups you can be a part of. So look that up, BNI. In fact, there's a website, Utah, let's see, what is it? BNIUtahSouth.com. And that gives you information on just this, it's basically Utah County and southern Utah counties as well. BNI is Business Networking International. So it's a group, it's where you meet with a group of working professionals, and it's exclusive to one seat only. So it's very hard for us realtors to get into BNI as a result, because there's probably another realtor in that group already, but they have several chapters. There's 12 of these chapters that meet all throughout Utah County. And so if you are able to get into one of those have helped me a lot. I've consistently closed probably 5 to 8 deals a year each year from BNI.
Does it cost?
It's annual membership is like $650. So it's really the time commitment is the big thing with that, because it's a weekly meeting. So there's a variety of times. So a variety. You can, if you go to that website, utahbni.com, BNIUtahSouth.com, you can see all the chapters and you see all the times that they meet. So yeah, and then you can call and you can get information on those, and those are open to visit and all that. But it's just a very good networking group. And so I've been a part of that now for probably 6 years or so, 5 or 6 years. It's a referral group. Yep. You get to know all these different working professionals, hopefully, and usually they're all pretty trustworthy. They're all really responsive, good people, good working professionals. And so, yeah, so it's just a big referral thing. And especially if you have the lender that you trust and a title person that you trust in there, then that can be your power team right there. So yeah, definitely something to check on. So, but that's pretty much it in terms of, then I've had about 10%, 5 to 10% of leads from like internet, Zillow, which I shouldn't say that word, which those are kind of iffy. I mean, they may have been better years ago, but yeah, those are probably a means to an end. I have a little bit left. Yeah, I used to have more, and then it's kind of shrunk a little, which is a testimony to Keller Williams of our capabilities and everything we have, the tools here. But yeah, and on that note, that's one reason I'm very excited for Keller going into moving forward. Keller's technology is just incredible with all the tools we have, the resources we have. Our new app for clients is just awesome. So yeah, so anyways, that's a little bit about that. Yeah, and if any other questions, don't hesitate to ask. So okay, so we're talking setting goals that matter. Okay, so talking about goals, I want to start this section with what really is a goal. Okay, what is an actual goal? There's actually 4. I learned this from, let me see, let's do red. Okay, I've learned this from a few different sources, but I'm convinced that well, it really rings home to me. Let's see, this marker's not working. Let me see if black is going to work. There we go. Okay. What is a goal? Okay, so there's 4 elements or 4 items that a goal must have, or it's just a wish. So what 4 items? There's kind of a half one as well, but we'll go with 4 for now. What does a goal have to actually be a goal? Timeline. Yep. I'm going to put that down here. So there has to be a timeline. Yep.
I'd say specific. It has to be specific as well.
It does have to be specific. Yes. That's so, which there's a little bit of wiggle room. Not one of the four here that I'm thinking, but yes, I mean, it does have to be something that you're targeting, right? So we could call that, we'll put that on number 5, but good. Yeah, good point out there. How about this? Has to be written down. Written down. If it's not written down, it's just a wish. You have to have a plan to see it through. That probably falls into, you have to have a plan to see it through, and it has to be attainable. So that's a big part. It has to be attainable. But on the same token, it must cause you to stretch. Okay. So these are the 4 main points. You write it down. It has to be attainable. It causes you to stretch. So you're stretching yourself, but you can still get it. It's still there. And then there's a timeline. There has to be some sort of timeline. Okay. And then there's the semi-fifth one is the item of measurable, which is not always true. So because there could be goals of someone could say, by the end of this year, I just need to be a better person. And it's like, oh yeah, that's awesome. We probably all need that goal, but how do you really measure that, right? So versus like, my goal is to sell 20 houses this year, at least 20. Okay, that's perfectly measurable, right? So that it's nice if it can be measurable, it's not a must. But these here you have to have these. And the tricky part with the timeline, it's great to have a goal, a personal goal, one that's not tangible. Maybe there's not, I guess on the timeline of like being a good person, just, set that to yourself so you'll know where you're going. But in any case, those are the 4 items. Okay. So keep that in mind as we're going through these slides here. And then I want to go a little bit behind what lies behind a goal, or what even drives the goal is your why. Okay. So everyone write down, what is my why? Capital letters. What is my why? So yeah, what is a why? Okay, keep thinking about that. We're going to talk more about that. We're going to dive into these slides. And actually, in some of these slides, there is a section where we're going to talk about what is your why. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's see if I think it's maybe this one. There we go. Okay. So pause that thought on the why. We're going to dive into it, but in a minute. Okay. So what successful agents do every day. Okay. So the people often ask, what is the key? What is the secret to being a successful agent? Okay, I'm going to tell you guys right now. I'm going to tell you guys the secret. Okay, so the secret to being a successful real estate agent is there is no secret. Success leaves clues, so we know exactly what successful agents do every single day. Okay, that's the reality of it. We're an open book, but success leaves clues. So you see those little breadcrumbs, then follow them. Ask, hey, why do you do it this way? Why do you not do it this way? And remember, there's a variety of different ways to do the same, to accomplish the same thing, right? You're just trying to figure out what works for you. What works for one agent may not work for another agent. So, but here is one thing that just about all agents do. So lead generate for buyers and sellers. Okay. How many of you are bittersweet with lead generation? Raise your hand. How many just absolutely love lead generation? Like it's the greatest thing. Okay. The lead generation it is what it is. It's difficult, but it's something that we have to do. We have to step up and we gotta do it. Okay. However you do it, there's a variety of ways of lead generating, but lead generating, Seller listings, make seller listing presentations and getting listings. There's an old phrase, if you get listings, you last. That's always stuck with me. If you get listings, you last. So making buyer presentations and getting listings and preview real estate. I'm not exactly, I guess maybe they're saying like going around and learning about real estate. Those are critical for growing your business, okay? And then running your business, okay? You're gonna market listings. You're gonna show buyer houses. You're gonna negotiate contracts, transaction management. Okay, that right there is a huge bulk, obviously, of what we do. Okay, vendor management. What vendors are you associated with? Who are you trusting to refer to your clients? And other little things. Well, setting goals, which we'll talk more about. Risk management, trainings. Trainings is significant, and managing money. So all these here, we want to talk about today. We're going to talk about setting goals to help all of this, okay? To help us grow our business, to help us run our business. We want to set goals to accomplish those, okay? Okay. And I think you guys focused on lead gen just barely. I think that's what you guys talked about. So setting goals is what we're going to focus on. And then there's the attend training and coaching. So let's see here. This should, okay. Okay, so envision your life, okay? Let's see. I'll give you this quote here. Who we are and where we want to go determine what we do and what we accomplish. Okay. Love that. So as we are thinking about our goals, okay. This is kind of a little measure. See, I'm getting a little fuzzy here. This is a graph here, okay? Okay, we're brainstorming our goals. What do we want to do? How many transactions do we want to have? What are our family goals associated with those transactions? We have this graph here of there's time and effort that you can spend, and there's thinking, or in other words, let's say mental effort. Think of this as like mental effort invested, brainstorming, strategizing. Obviously, the more, and our output equals actions. If we are both exerting a lot of time, putting time and effort and thinking, we're going to get much greater outcomes than we are otherwise. Okay. So let's move on here. Okay. So we're going to talk about what are our goals? What's our why? Okay. I want to first let's talk about our whys. Let's go around the room. I want a couple volunteers. What is your why? Why are you doing real estate? Why are you here?
I think for me, initially it was just like striving towards financial freedom, kind of towards that lifestyle and way of thinking. And I think the more I've gotten into it, the more I've kind of studied just the potential that lies within real estate. I think it's shifted more towards wanting to help other people see all that potential. And so I've really just kind of shifted my why into just helping other people achieve financial freedom through real estate investing or just through real estate in general.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I love that. And what you said, you actually touched on another thing. What do we do as agents? What do we specifically do as agents with our clients? Some people say we help them buy and sell houses. That's not correct. we do help educate, but we help. So this is what we do as agents. Okay. So exactly what we do is we help our clients achieve wealth through the buying and selling of real estate. So we help our clients achieve wealth through the buying and selling.
Well, I mean, and yeah, you think about that, and especially in Utah, our big leverage point is the appreciation game, right? So like, should I sell? Yes, you've appreciated, get some of the capital you've gained, or should I buy? Yes, it's going to appreciate. Like we always have that leverage point of building wealth, of setting them up for a bigger, better financial future. Even when somebody brings up the aspect of, oh, I want to save money, it's like, no, put it in here. Trust me, it'll grow way faster than you'll be able to save it. So no, I think that's spot on.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. 100%. We have, I mean, people will make money when they buy. In fact, in my opinion, that's where the true money is made, when they buy. And then of course, when they sell, they'll get paid. They'll cash out and make their money. So that's what we do. And yeah, thank you for those points there. So that's a great why. I have adopted that a little bit, that I thoroughly enjoy helping my clients to make money. And where it's something that I have tried to separate myself. I've tried to determine my value, and here's how I can help them. And maybe they could have had something similar elsewhere, or maybe not, but I can clearly see how I've helped my clients in many cases. So, okay, great why. What's another why?
One of mine, just related to sales, I love the extreme level of accountability and ownership that's related to that. Like you can
own it.
you can own it. And it's both terrifying and at the same time exhilarating, because no matter what happens, you are 100% responsible for the outcome.
Yeah.
And at least, yeah, you are responsible. End of story. And so I love the growth that inspires, because now I have like a tangible way to like track, what am I producing and what am I accomplishing, both in my life and in other people's lives. So that's something that I latched on to early in my sales game.
Yeah, that's awesome, because you can own this. It's all on you. Yeah, and that's your why. I love it. Autonomy. It's another word for that. So. Okay, we do have one more why, back corner.
Just to build a future for my kids and my family, and then build that future, but not only that, and pass it on to clients as well, and build a future for their families and help them make money.
Yeah, very well said. Yeah, and I think family is going to be like the root. It should be the root of all of our whys, ultimately, so we can help achieve that financial freedom and help out our families. Absolutely. So speaking of, and these are all awesome. So speaking of these, we all have financial obligations. We all have things we need to pay for in life, right? So as you're thinking of your why, as you're thinking about that, you also want to write out, okay, what are things you need to pay for? What are some obligations you have, right? And why don't you go ahead and just take a couple minutes. We're not going to share these, but this is personal. Take a couple minutes and just write down, what are some things that you are trying to pay for? What is the reason for doing real estate, taking this risk, and what are you trying to pay for? And in these figures that you write, or these things that you write, maybe put a dollar figure there. You know what, actually, let me see if I can. Okay. I wish we could see these other boxes, but that's okay now. Okay, so now the purpose of this is as you're writing these down, you can see the dollar figures. You realize a certain amount of money you need to make, right? And that's on top of just providing for family. But that's on top of paying for shoes and clothing and food. So I want you to now just jot down, and we're not going to share this, but just jot down a number. What is a gross? Well, actually, okay, no, I'm actually getting ahead of myself. Let's go here. We're going to talk more about the goals. So this is where we're going to talk about kind of what do you need to make to hit that number of those items that you just wrote, okay? So how do the splits work? Where does all the money that you make, where does it go to? Okay, how does it all work? Average sale price is, let's say 300,000. I think it's higher now. That was, I feel like maybe that might have been 12, that might have been 12 months ago, which was like 5 years ago, actually. 13.5. Okay, yeah, 450 average sale price. Okay, which do you know the median price by chance? I think it was just under 4 or around.
What it is for Lehigh, just because I've watched that market like the hawk.
Okay.
That's where all my marketing is geared towards. but I
Okay.
don't know Utah County.
Okay. I think Utah County, Salt Lake County median sales price, it's lower than the average because it's, you know, some of the averages are skewed. I want to say we're around 400, give or take. So,
Median for Lehigh.
oh yeah, what's median for Lehigh? We're about 456 or 440 or
June was 583
583 median.
sold median.
Oh my gosh, yeah, Lehigh is amazing. Lehigh's booming. I happen to live in Lehigh as well, so I can appreciate that. But so that said, 300,000 is quite outdated. We'll go with the higher. Let's just say 450. So with an average commission being around 13,000. So I mean that's phenomenal, right? Fantastic. And just as an FYI, on commissions, you know, 3% used to be a little more dominant. Now we see 2.5 or 2 or 1.5 or $1, literally $1. Yeah, you'll see like 45 days on market. Oh, is that a homie listing? Scroll in. Yep, $1,000 BAC. Okay, well, there we go. Someone doesn't want to sell their house. Just on a side note, if the commission is below your comfort level, simply ask them for a higher commission, and don't be afraid. So I spoke with actually a really cool homie agent a few weeks ago. We had kind of an open conversation about this. I asked her why on earth, like personally, I would never coach a client to go less than 2.5. I feel like 2.5 is still a good commission. 3% obviously better, but 2.5 is still a good commission. I would never coach a seller to go any less than 2.5 on the BAC, just because that commission will buy them a higher price. If that makes sense, it will buy them a higher sale price. It will make them more money. So I asked this agent, why do you still see these 1% BACs or $500 BACs? And she said, Stan, what happens is they get a document, the seller, like aside from the agent, just fills that out on their own. And even before they have that kind of coaching conversation, which I didn't realize that. And she said, in any situation, a buyer's agent can simply ask for that higher commission, whether you want to ask for 2.5 or ask for 3%. And there's a way to include that in the offer to ask them for that higher commission. And she said a lot of times, if it's the right offer, a seller will do that. So
That's the way to ask.
yep, through the offer. Yep. There's and there's a specific document. There's a couple documents. I used to use the brokerage instructions. I think there's an addendum that we're supposed to be using. So you can ask Dean or, ask one of your colleagues on the specific way to do that. But yes, make sure you're asking for that, and a lot of times when you'll see that, I see that listing, it's been on 30 days. It seems like it's priced right. It's still there. Why is it still there? Oh, $500 BAC. Let's go in there. Let's give them an offer. Let's ask for a better commission. And you'd be surprised how often it works out. And they may be wondering why the house has been sitting. And I can tell you that's why it's been sitting, because no one has been willing to show their house. And so if you're preemptive and you show it, it can happen. One quick story. I had an experience. This was 3 or 4 years ago, and I shouldn't say the company name because that don't want to be too targeting. But anyways, there's a company lowering a very low commission, and we offered with asking for a higher commission, and they didn't respond at all. And then I asked them for a response. They didn't text me back. I called them the next day, and they just said, "Oh yeah, my client didn't want to. They just don't want to pay that higher commission." And I said, "Okay, well, are they gonna respond at all? Then why don't they just counter us? With that commission, what would their counter be?" And he said, "Oh well, let me ask them." And guess what? They then sent us a counter, and then I presented it to my client, and we then countered back, and we went under contract. And so the lesson was, and I don't know if that was just if that agent was just not as experienced, maybe their company, I think part of it probably stems from their company. But that said, had that agent, if we're proactive and we stay on top of these things, deals can happen. It's not about the commissions. It's not about the fees or this or that. It's about, do the numbers make sense for the clients? That's it. Do the numbers make sense? So, I mean, when you're getting a loan, there's just a gazillion different little things in there, right? There's all this and this and that and that and this little fee. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. All it matters is what's the picture. Like, what are we paying? What's the big picture? Besides that, we don't care. We ultimately don't care what fee goes to where exactly. So anyways, little tangent, but good stuff. Okay. So this right here, so this is talking about our splits. Market Center, company dollar. I don't know whose is $27,000. Ours is not $27,000. So ours is $15,000. That's where, so our typical splits, it's 30% of your check goes to our Market Center for, for everything, that all the greatness that our Market Center does. That 30% goes to them until we hit 15,000. Okay. If you're on a team, then the splits are of course a little different, but 15,000 is our cap. So 30% until you hit 15,000, and then we have 6% that comes out until you hit 3,000. That is correct. So that's the KW corporate or the royalties. So 18 grand total, correct. Yep. So once you hit 18 grand, you are capped and you are off to the races. If you do 36 transactions a year, that's a $500. You're paying $500, which is like a discount brokerage. If you do 50, I think you're right around 400, which is pretty awesome. So a lot of incentive to just hustle.
Can you just pay that cap fee up front?
You could, yeah.
Just be like, hey, here's 18 grand on my first
I
deal
know
of the
agents.
year.
I know agents who have done that.
Okay.
So you could just say, hey, Novalee,
Just get it out of the way.
I don't want to worry about this. How about I cut you a check? You can do that.
Cool.
Yeah. Yep. Great question. So, well, you would pay the Market Center 15, and then you'd write a check for 3,000 over to corporate. But yes. So 18,000 is our total. Okay. So let's say your net income goal is 100,000. Good goal. Company dollar and royalty, it's going to be 18. Business expenses, 50,000. Okay. That's okay. 50,000 is, events. I mean, maybe as you're starting off, maybe you're 10 to 20,000 in expenses. Okay. So that number can change. All right. And then all these combined equals that's what your GCI needs to be. In this case, it's 180, but let's assume that, let's actually shave off 12,000. So of course, 18, let's say the goal is just 112. Kind of a weird number, but it would make sense in this scenario. So you do the math, take 180 divided by the average GCI, which is of course a lower number, but we'll just roll with it here. Gives you 20 deals. So I want you to take everything that you have that you need to pay for and add that to maybe just take that number and then add it, factor it in with here. And I want you to come up with a total GCI of how much money would you need to make to hit that?
Well, and Shoni actually designed an Excel sheet for this. Like,
Oh,
so
okay.
it's like the Life by Design is what it's called.
Oh, yeah.
So you
Okay.
just plug in your personal expenses to survive, and then your business expenses, and then it gives you kind of your projected GCI
that's
or
awesome.
whatever you would need to, whatever you need.
So I think everyone needs to get a copy of that, or if you haven't looked at it.
I think most people have.
Okay, awesome. That's perfect. Then you've got it right there. Then you know what your goal is. You know how many transactions you need to hit. So, and then the great thing with Keller Williams is you can set goals in command, which this is when I read this, they say like the teacher's the ultimate learner, right? Well, I am not as good with setting things in command. I need to be better. And this is a good reminder to me, but it's awesome. You can put all these numbers into command and it'll track it. And as you put in your transactions, it tells you how close you get. Oh, you're good. So command is awesome and it's very easy. It's getting easier and easier to use. So, okay. So now we're talking about doing the right activities. Okay. Got the 80-20 principle, which is 20% effort, putting in 20% effort, getting 80% results, which is, okay, so it says make more money, time with family, more organized. So it's basically how can we be efficient? Let's see here. This is how do we the point here is how do we maximize, make it when we put in effort, how do we maximize the results? Okay, that's what this is right here. What is the one thing you can do right now that would make everything else easier or unnecessary? So have you guys read the book, One Thing? Okay, awesome. Yep. So, I mean, there is one thing right now, and I'm sure everyone's already thinking about it. What is one thing that you can do right away that can just let's talk business-wise, that can make this so much easier? Lead gen. Okay. There's, I think Gary Keller, Gary Keller focuses on the three most important things as realtors: leads, listings, and leverage. Leads, listings, and leverage. We're always working on one of those. Okay. Okay. So that's kind of the bulk of our discussion. And so I want to kind of coming back. So making sure that we're setting goals, making sure that let's make sure that we understand our why. Why are we really doing this? And so I want to actually share one of my whys in real estate, or actually it's probably not my why, it's probably my goal in real estate, like what I want to accomplish. This stuck with me when I first told it to myself. But my big goal in real estate is to acquire anywhere from 10 to 15 rental properties. So as I was thinking, that just kind of hit me. And I realized, oh yeah, that will be my retirement. That's something I can accomplish. We have a huge advantage. In real estate, we have a huge advantage in that we can buy properties for a discounted rate. You get that commission, basically off the price, or credit towards the price, however. But we are seeing these deals firsthand. So one of our other top agents in the office told me, I don't know if you guys have met Bart Anthony, he's just a phenomenal realtor, but he told me, he said, make sure you are buying at least one property at least every other year. So one property every other year, because in that case, most of the times buying is good, right? I mean, especially in our market is just so resilient. That's the word that always comes back to me when I think of our market. It's resilient. So make sure that we're buying, every other year, and you're accumulating that rental portfolio. Yes, there will be tough times at some point, and it's like our market's been so strong. It's some of us can't really fathom that, but in any case, if you're continually buying, the point is you're going to be in great hands, and with the intention of holding, because the long term wins. If my buyers are ever concerned about the timing, I tell them, look, if you can hold this for at least 5 to 7 years, you're going to be in great shape. Because at some point in 5 to 7 years, there will be a good time to sell. Okay, if in 5 years it's looking a little rocky, then give it another year or two, and chances are, the very, very worst, I mean, maybe year 8, things really start to boom, and then they sell at that point. But for the most part, I feel like that 5 to 7 rule is pretty safe. So in any case, that's my big goal, is that 10 to 15 rental properties. And my why is simply, I want passive income. Ultimately, I want passive income, and that's what comes from having rental properties. And then it'll take care of my family. We'll all be happy. So anyways, any other questions or thoughts so far? Okay, I think, let's see here. Okay, so this is talking about our 411. Okay, so I think I need to give you guys a few minutes and write down. Have you guys discussed the 411? Have you guys talk about this? Okay, I'm going to give you guys a few minutes. I want you guys to go over your 411. How many appointments are you going to set for what is this, for the next, I think it's for the next 4 weeks, or this month or next month? How many appointments are you going to set? How many transactions are you going to close? So let's do that go ahead and do that for August and for September. And if you have it already, then you're ahead. Okay. And then, so wrapping this up, so this talks about your why. Don't lose focus. Times will get hard. Real estate, sometimes it gets a little heavy. That my biggest challenge personally is when 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, we have to write that offer. And my wife is excited to sit down with us, and we have a little girl. She wants to sit down and have family dinner, and it's tough. It's very hard because there are time is of the essence in our line of work. It just is. So we have to prioritize. And is there a way to get that person to write that offer an hour or two sooner? I always try for that. Does it happen that way? No, it doesn't. Sometimes they've spoken to their spouse. You get that phone call at 9 p.m. All right, write it up. Let's do it. So, but anyways, it is a juggle, and it's something we just have to be good at. And but that said, don't lose focus. Remember your why. Remember why you're doing this, and that it's for those people. It's for those people that you love. Accountable people achieve results others can only dream of. I love this quote. So keep yourself accountable. Hold yourself to those goals. Okay. Accountable people achieve results others can only dream of. Okay. So recap and ahas. Okay. Let's go around. What is something? So let's just talk about our ahas. What are some ahas from today?
No, I really enjoyed the discount brokerage approach, just asking.
Yeah.
Kind of to get clear on that, were you saying that the seller almost was setting the commission?
So in this case, so a homie agent told me that when a seller signs up to sell with them, they're going through the paperwork. They simply there's the section BAC, and they just write in whatever they want to write in. Yeah, and it's kind of like, and I don't know exactly the process of the way that she described it, made it sound like that happened before the coaching came in. Because I then told her, I said, why on earth? I mean, why would they not be coached correctly? And she told me that this form comes first.
Okay. Because I've had it both ways, where the homie agent was like awesome, and then they didn't even answer.
Right.
So.
Yeah. And I think at the end of the day, homie's becoming a little bit, they're just kind of becoming they're a brokerage, right? That years ago, they used to be kind of a for sale by owner thing. Now they're just a brokerage. I mean, they're probably comparable to other maybe discount brokerages, you can say. The big thing about homie is everyone knows their billboards, right? And they got these cool green billboards, and so they're everywhere. So, but in all reality, there's other brokerages that could be very similar to homie.
Right.
And there could be good agents, there can be lazy agents. So just all kind of depends.
Cool. But yeah, I really enjoyed that strategy.
Oh, it works. I rarely go less personally. I rarely do less than 2.5%. And it's just, and I'll have a discussion with my buyers that I want to get them the very best, and also have myself be taken care of as well, because I want to work the very best for them, and that's going to take effort. And people, if you approach them in the right way, people understand. And I kind of put it on the seller too, that most people know that a buyer's agent commission is 2.5% to 3%. That's kind of a standard thing. And if a seller's trying to cheapskate that, people know that's kind of a no-no. So cool. Thanks for sharing that. Any other ahas?
Just that statement you said, where we help our clients achieve wealth through the buying and selling of real estate. And when you asked for the big why, I wrote something very similar to that. And I like it was clean, it was simple, it's because it really is the most powerful and consistent vehicle to wealth creation.
Yeah, absolutely. You try to name a multimillionaire that doesn't have at least 2 or more properties. It doesn't happen. So yeah, awesome. Thank you. Ahas. Any other ahas?
Yeah, I think I'll even just go off of what Travis said. I think, I've never thought about potentially negotiating the buyer's commission. I know that it's not very ethical that drives away some of the buyer's agents, because really you are supposed to have your buyer's best interest.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a unique approach to take to it. So I liked that. And then I also liked how, I guess just a regular buyer can also be considered kind of an investor, just more small scale, really. And so, because I've really focused my time and energy into helping people look into investing, into wealth building, and all this other stuff. And so seeing that perspective was kind of unique, just not even buying a regular home for yourself is still an investment.
Huge. And I feel like the real money is made when a person buys. Okay. If you ask your parents, did you ever regret selling a property, and do you wish you would have held on to that property a little bit longer? So many people, so many elderly people will say, oh yeah, would love to hold on to this for another, 10 years. And it just, the lady was just telling me the story yesterday. But yeah, that's where we really make the money, is in the buying ultimately. So, okay, other ahas. Okay. All right, very good. So build daily success habits. Okay, so let's just make sure that what you're doing every day, it's because this is a day-to-day, this is the grind. That's why we love it, right? So what this is suggesting here is add 10 contacts, make 10 new contacts daily, have 10 conversations daily, 10 handwritten notes, and then see at least 10 homes in a week.
This is kind of bouncing back to the very beginning when Travis asked you about your lead gen approach. You mentioned that your second year was more door knocking, right?
Yeah.
So how many days a week, or I guess how much time a week were you dedicating to door
Let's
knocking?
see here, it was at least probably 2 occasions a week.
So like 3 to 4 hour, or
Yeah, two times of 3 to 4 hours.
okay.
So like a 3 to 4 hour block here, and then a 3 to 4 hour block on
Okay.
another day.
And then I mean, you don't have to answer this if this is too personal.
Oh,
but
no,
I guess
no.
how much did you
I had
close off of that,
I think it was 7 transactions.
out of that?
Yeah, that came from
Okay.
door knocking. Yeah, and that continued, and it was like, it didn't take more than, I think, at least 1 out of 3 times that I went door knocking, I got one of those 7. So I didn't really come up empty-handed very much. Maybe it was 1 out of 2. So maybe it might have been literally each week I found, maybe it was almost each week that I landed one of these contacts that eventually turned into a listing. Yeah, these were all, okay, actually, there might have been one buyer. Okay. Yeah. So all of there were 6 of them that were listings. 1 was a buyer. So, and it was a friend who, he said, anyways, the guy was real funny. He said, yeah, I don't know anyone looking to sell. My brother wants to buy. He's struggling buying. And anyways, that one turned out.
So off of those, just to kind of dig deeper, if you don't mind,
Yeah.
you get referrals off of those at all?
Oh, let me think here. Let me think. I can think of 2 right now, 2 other transactions that resulted from those because of my door knocking. Yep, 2 other transactions. There was one other, they had a family member that needed to sell. That was like a year later. And then they sent me a friend who was looking to buy. And I'm trying to think, there's probably, if I could dig deeper, there's probably another branch, but I can think of 2 vividly. Oh yeah. And make sure that you're just there to help them, right? You're there to, I love the soft approach of just, hey, I sold, tell them someone's house that you sold or that you are planning to sell, kind of you're into the neighborhood. If you did or you're about to sell a house, that's a great name drop. And you're just curious, do you know of anyone else looking to buy or sell? So we're coming in with a great marketing approach in this neighborhood. Do you know of anyone looking to buy or sell? And then let the conversation kind of go from there. So it works. Door knocking works. Absolutely.
Well, that's kind of why I bring it up, because I mean, Craig just got a listing out of door knocking.
Nice.
Tossin, another kid on our team, got his first listing through door knocking. So like it does work. It does. The proven method. Yeah. I would say it's more the mental game is why a lot of people don't do it.
Yeah.
It's very
well,
tough.
And here's the reason why. So I'll tell you a big reason why door knocking works. So seeing it from other people's perspectives, it works because they see that you're hustling. They see that you're out and about. You're trying to work hard, just as though, and you can have this conversation if it kind of comes to that, if they're a little skeptical, you tell them, look, just as I've been pounding the pavement, looking to help people, looking for listings, I'm going to get you buyers. I'm going to get your house sold for top dollar. Okay. People love the hustle. They love seeing someone that works hard, and door to door, that's like the epitome of just working hard and pounding the pavement.
And I guess in addition to that, like for myself and maybe a few others here included, what was your kind of personal way of getting your mind to just push through those sucky days?
I think you just have to kind of have to forget yourself and go to work. Okay. Just forget yourself, go to work. And just don't, I mean, there's going to be objections. There's going to be, yes, stuff is going to come up, but if I can just like forget myself, if I just say, nope, I'm just going, I'm going to do it. Then, and even just tell yourself, I'm just going to go, I'm going to just talk to people. Okay. There's no harm in talking to people, right? We like to talk to people. So maybe tell it to yourself that way. Let's just go and talk to people. So it's just pushing yourself and exerting that effort to get yourself out there on the doors. But when you're there, then it just feels good. And I remember conversations with door knocking where it's like, oh, this is awesome. This is, something's happening here. And so yeah, just pushing yourself.
The hardest part is just getting on the door.
Yeah.
Getting out of your own stinking car is the hardest part.
Yep. Getting out of the car, drive over there, get off your phone, just get on the doors. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So here's a quick site door knocking as well.
Oh yeah. Maybe tell us how you got your listing.
So just a kind of a general quick tip. Never ever sit in your car in the area that you intend to knock in under any circumstance. Like if you know you're not ready to go out and to knock, go to a gas station and sit in their parking lot.
There you go.
Because the moment you get into that area, it's your gears need to shift. And so, for example, like one of my good buddies who I knocked with for a couple of years, when they left the apartment in the morning to go knock, Houston heat, middle of July, 100% humidity, windows down, no AC. He did his absolute best to make him and his brother miserable while they were in the car. So that way, the moment they got to the area, it was like, get out of the car right now. Like they don't want to sit there. And that's one of the things you do is you want to make sure that you're incentivized to get on the doors as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Did you want to hear like how I got my listing? Or?
Yeah, well, and that's awesome. And I love that. You're right. Get out of the car. Don't go somewhere else if you need to finish an email. But when you get to the area, you're there.
Yep.
And you're getting out.
So, but as far as like how I got the listing, I think I've told a lot of you guys, like I just knock, like my quick pitch is just hey, I'm Craig with Keller Williams Realty. And then I crack a joke and it's almost always the same one. And I say, don't worry, I'm not going to ask you to sell the house. And I just smile and laugh, give a little chuckle with it. And then I normally like, hey, I'm dropping off a market update. And I hand them a flyer with my market update in the city that I'm knocking in. And then I just ask them if they own or they rent. And I just kind of start the conversation. How long have they been there? How do they like it? What are their plans moving forward? Stuff like that. Just getting to know them, trying to build a relationship. But in the case where I actually got the listing, as soon as I knocked and I said, hey, don't worry, I won't ask you to sell the house. First of all, I was talking to the son of the owner. And he's like, actually, we need to sell. We're moving to Georgia. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, is your mom home? Or he's like, oh, she's working, but come back at 6:30. I was like, okay. So I did and talked to her and I was like, hey, I heard from your son that you guys are needing to move pretty soon. She's like, yes, we do. And she was a little defensive at first because I came in pretty much armed to the teeth.
Oh yeah.
And
you
so
I
smelled blood in the water.
Yeah.
So, but I was able to befriend her and get her defenses down, try to figure out what she was really looking for. And I think like a week, that was Tuesday. I scheduled a listing appointment for her on Sunday. And then I had the contract, the ERS signed the following Tuesday. So within 7 days from that, I had the ERS signed.
Awesome. That's awesome. Job well done. Yeah. And I like that you schedule an appointment So I did that with all, because there's kind of this awkward limbo of if they are looking to sell and they're really considering it, it's like, hey, how do we go about this? I would always just say, okay, great. Let me do a little research on your house. Let's set an appointment. I want to come back and then we can sit down and go over numbers and whatnot. And then I ask them for their contact info and then set that appointment. So that's that. I've always found that to be a good soft, just kind of a soft close and less awkward. There's a chance they could say, come on in, and you could talk more, but don't feel pressured to give them too much information on the spot, right? Without being able to look up comps and stuff like that. So that's the key thing is you could tell them, you could look at the house, but then tell them, okay, I want to do some market research. I'm going to pull up comps in your area. Can I come back on Wednesday? What's your schedule Wednesday or Friday? So something like that.
Related to that, I kind of would love to hear any objection handlers you have for people who are in the, I'm not quite ready yet, I want to wait a couple more months or something to that effect, or I need to talk to my husband or my wife, whatever that significant other is.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you respond to those objections? Because the one I got was straight up a lay down. Like they're like, I knew it going in and there was real urgency on their end. And that was the reason I got it, is because there was real urgency. I do a good job kind of getting initial traction, but getting that final appointment to both be set and then for them to follow through, because setting appointments is one thing, getting them to follow through is another, I found. So anything in that field, I would love to hear.
Yeah. Yeah. So the question of, we're just not ready. We need a few more months. Well, yeah, and that's great. I mean, this whole selling your house it's totally your timetable. So why don't we do this? Why don't I come back in a few days? Let's make an appointment and I'll show you kind of what your house is worth, where it's at. And then let's just see what happens with your schedule. Let's see if it, and then I'll ask them what's happening in 3 months. Oh, well, we're accepting this position in Delaware and we have to be there at this time. So we need to have this date. So, which is great. And it's, and truth be told, this kind of thing, like, it's 6 months or it's 1 year, whatever. It's not really an objection. It's more of just, okay, let's figure out your schedule. Awesome. Okay. Well, why don't I, and if it's, let's say, they need to sell in 9 months, then, okay, well, why don't I, if you can get an appointment, if you can still at least come back and see their house, I think that's worthwhile, because otherwise trying to make an appointment for 6 months down the road, 9 months down the road, you might just lose it all. Right. So I would say, try to make an appointment, just say, I'd love to go over an analysis right now. And then we'll just, keep in touch. We'll just see whatever your schedule is, we'll just keep in touch. And because who knows, right? Maybe they're going to call you 2 weeks later saying, actually, we kind of need to get out now all of a sudden. So.
On the back end, are you contacting once a month?
Probably, let's see. It kind of depends on how call it a listing appointment, right? Even though we know that they're not listing till later. Probably not until, I'm probably contacting them once every 2 to 4 weeks, somewhere around there. So if some form, yes, text, email. So if it, I'd say at the very least once a month. So, and I do like email, as long as they're checking their email, as long as I know they're getting, my information. Maybe I'll send them a little monthly update on their neighborhood, but at least once a month. That shows that you're present. If you're running some kind of event, or Keller Williams is having an event, make sure you are, taking full advantage of that and inviting them. So yeah, at least once a month. So it's here another objection. So we heard about the timing one. Oh yeah, go ahead. What was that? Waiting for the market to correct. Okay. Yes, and aren't we all, right? All of us. So the reality is there's no crystal ball, right? I would love, I'm still looking for a crystal ball. I really am. So that said, we just don't know what is going to happen, but what are your goals exactly? What are you, so you said that maybe, and then I'll just ask them. So yeah, what are your plans with whether it's selling or buying, and what are your goals? What do you want to accomplish? Well, we need to do this, this, and this, and this. Okay. Okay. Well, based on what you're telling me, I think we should do this. I think this would be a good, and based on where the market's at, and I'll just give my honest analysis of where we're at with the market, where I feel things are going, and then just having that conversation. So, because you know, I mean, you know, so we are on that notion of the market. Yeah, we do know there's a few more listings coming on. A few months ago, it was just barren, so dry. Fortunately, we are getting a few more listings, which we need. We need more listings. Okay, so it's okay if, I mean, our market has appreciated 20 to 30% over the past 12 months, which is insanity, right? That can't happen every single year. It just will not. So so we know that will slow at some point, but do know that our market is very resilient. We are in a terrific market that other markets are going to slow down first or even correct first before us. So typically the big ones like, I mean, California, New York, some of those really, really big markets, they get hit before Utah does. But Utah, we're just in a really, really good place. So, okay, other objections while door knocking or thoughts?
I'm trying to remember the second one. So not ready, waiting for the market to correct.
Not ready. Oh, spouse. You said
Spouse.
Yes. Okay. Awesome. Yes. So who wears the pants in your relationship? Okay. No, I'm just kidding. No, I may say that though. So, and then they always get a good chuckle. But yeah, no, this is a conversation for the two of you guys. So what day is good for the both of you? Is Thursday good or is Friday better? Or sorry, yeah, Thursday or Friday or Saturday. Oh yeah, he'll be here on, you know, Thursday afternoon. Great. Okay. 3 o'clock. Does that sound good? So I'll try to, that kind of gives a kind of an easier way of just getting an appointment. And you can, and I'll just tell her, I'll say, yeah, I'll actually come prepared. I'll bring some sales in the neighborhood. And then, yeah, I'd love to talk to your husband more about that. So yeah, I mean, so you got to have, if you're to do any kind of presentation, listing presentation with only one spouse, you're kind of setting yourself up, unless that clearly is the spouse that is making the decisions. So.
Would you ever set up a listing presentation just at the office? Because I've felt kind of awkward going, like when it's like a single lady and I'm like, I don't want to go in.
Yeah. That's a great question.
I don't know if you've run into that.
I personally haven't.
Okay.
I haven't, but yeah, I can totally see that.
Yeah. Because a few times they're like, okay, yeah, I'd like to know, do a CMA and everything. I'm like, well, I don't feel comfortable. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I would just ask them, yeah, would you prefer, yeah, and I would just ask them, would you prefer that, let's say you know that it's like just her alone at the house. Let's say that's obvious.
Yeah.
You could ask her, would you prefer that I'd love to come? Would you prefer I come with an assistant? Or would you first want to meet me at my office and we can talk a little bit more in depth there to start?
Yeah.
That's not a bad approach.
Okay.
Because yeah, absolutely. You want to make sure that, they're comfortable and that you're comfortable as well.
Cool. I've run across it and I'm like,
oh yeah.
So.
Yeah, I can totally see it. So yeah, good question. Okay. Any other objections? Trying to think of ones that I have. So if you have a buyer, let's say you've got a buyer, not just door knocking, but you have a buyer that's looking and they're just like, we just want to we need to wait until prices come down. I just love that. I'm just like, I don't know if it's ever going to happen, but so I can tell you, I have so many friends and clients from 2016 to 2017. Even then started to drop off. We're waiting. We're just going to wait. Prices are sky high. And, this is like 2016, right? And they're like, prices are so high right now. We're just going to wait. It's just unbelievable. And at the time I was just kind of like, okay, yeah, I guess, yeah, I mean, let me know if I can do anything for you. I know it's a very personal decision. And boy, gosh, did they lose out on 200 grand as of now or more. So the big trick with that, so there really is not a way to time the market. And if someone is just truly concerned with prices, there's just no telling. Like whether our market, so right now we've gone through a couple things, right? We have this crazy appreciation, this crazy boom. On the same token, it's been very competitive, right? There's so many offers, multiple offers is a normal thing. So I think at some point the multiple offers will start to die down a little. Things, will kind of come back to a little bit more normal of a market. But that said, our market may still, real estate itself still appreciates, right? So it's just so hard to know the answer to that. And if the right property comes along and if they have the right game plan, that shines the market itself. Okay, let's say you have a family that's looking to move and they're looking for a long-term play, like a 10-year plus play. It doesn't matter what market they buy in. If they're looking for a long-term home, absolutely does not matter the market. Because guess what? In 10 years, will we have gone through a correction? Probably. Will we go through another boom? Yeah, absolutely, right? So that said, that's a safe plan. If someone's looking to do a quick flip over 12 months or whatever, okay, that's a different conversation. But just educate them on the market and teach them this market is so resilient. There's little scenarios in which you can go wrong buying real estate in Utah.
I'll give you a quick objection that I got yesterday with the client. He says he has a family. We're buying an investment property, new build. And he says he has a family realtor that he usually uses. And he'll do this one with me, but he didn't want to sign, he didn't understand the buyer broker, how it's limited to like one transaction and stuff. But he's like, yeah, and then I'll just go back to my other one after my other realtor. How do I combat that? Where it's like, I'm going to obviously work as hard as I can, make it the best experience.
So he's giving you this one deal, or he's giving you this deal, and then he's saying that just after this, he's just going.
He works with another realtor.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well,
He's my neighbor. So
okay. So what I would do is I'd just tell him, okay, so this is like the testing ground, right? I want to make this as sweet as possible, and my hope is that you'll call me on the next one.
Let's make it a competition, kind of.
Yeah. Okay. Add a little, and I tell people, like, I'm not in it for just, I love the transaction, but I'm in this for the long term. I'm in this for the friends and the family. So let me try to make this really sweet, and let me make this one really sweet for you. Let's see if I can win the next, maybe win the next one as well. But I'm going to commit. I'm going to work really hard for this one, and I want to make it great. Yeah. So that's kind of that's what I would do. And I guarantee that it's just, if you blow it out of the sky, if you just really rock it, that's going to make a huge impact. They will not forget that. So it really just, it all comes down to your performance.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. I love it.
What are the like my mom keeps looking at houses, look at houses online, and the agents would keep showing her things.
Oh, like she calls online. She gets like three other phone calls.
But she would say, my daughter's going to school right now to be a real estate agent, and this is other stuff. Because of course, good on them. But then when she really was ready to get a house, I didn't have my license yet, and I did direct her to somebody I know and love, and I said, and she felt loyalty to them. What are the rules on that? Do you know what I mean? Because there was no contract.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Sending her random, she looked at one of their.
Like when she's clicking online, sort of thing. Oh yeah, there's no obligation at all. No obligation. No, she can just. So if someone tries to if someone tries to say, wait a sec, but I'm already working with you, then she can say, well, no, I haven't signed anything with you. So that's a big thing. Until. They're just they have you in their database and they're just generating things out. I just
want to know if there was some sort of.
No, there is something called implied agency, which is something good to, it's another topic to learn about. But ultimately, if she's kind of making it known that I'm curious about this house, maybe I'd love to see it, but I do want you to know, I've got my daughter who's about to get her license, and I will work. Okay.
And then I directed you, because I was like, oh, I didn't direct you.
Nope. I think,
Just wondering,
yeah, I think
that could be
she's,
an objection, like, is it somebody's spam you're getting, or is it really a
Yeah.
relationship you want to step into?
yeah, and so the objection then is, as you're making calls, you call someone and they say, oh, and they tell you this, right? Just so you know, I've got this family friend, they're going to be my agent, but I am curious about this house. Okay, we don't know at that moment, we don't know how genuine, how real that actually is, right? In your case, it was totally genuine. There's no chance that the mom was going to be working with, they're going to get your mom, because that relationship's genuine. But that could be a smokescreen, right, to other people. And so you can just ask them, oh, that's cool. Are they, do they have their license yet, or what's the plan there? And then you can kind of, as the agent trying to get that business, you can prod and ask some questions, and maybe they'll say, well, I'll have to find out. Maybe let me see what's going on there. But actually, yeah, we would like to see this property. Can you show us this property? Absolutely, yeah. I'll go ahead and show you this property. And then let's say you do meet them to see the property, and then both spouses are there, right? And then the other spouse is like, oh, was he talking about our uncle? Pfft, we're not using him. No, that guy is he's not really in real estate, or he's just doing whatever. And then right there, you just found out, oh, that was a smokescreen. You don't want to step on toes, but we don't want to miss opportunities. So again, people trust agents that follow up. So it's okay, just follow up. We want to find out, is that a real relationship or is it not a real relationship? So, and I've seen it many times that it's just kind of a way of just don't bother me. I'm okay. And then I just ask some questions. And then when they realize that I know what I'm talking about, or I know about the property, then all of a sudden they become a little more interested. So yes, very good question. So, okay, guys, this has been awesome. I think that is, I think it's it. I think that's all I got for you. So, of course, making sure that we know our scripts. Okay, I don't know if, well, I guess we have been role playing a little bit, but if you guys want to continue role playing, feel free to, or link up. But any other questions in closing? Anything else? Okay. Again, my name is Stan, and if you see me in passing, don't hesitate to, pull me aside and ask me some questions. So, okay. Thank you, guys. You guys are awesome.
I think Shoni records them.
Oh, and then there's this Ignite survey, by the way. I don't know how. I think they want us to fill that out. You can.
North of Ontario, before Mount Olive, you go up and you go to mountains. There are farther than we know. Are you over there? Reyes?
Just the normal process, yeah. And that's smart, yeah. Make sure they gotta have the place ready to go, and then they clean the house. You
Yeah,
get
that's sort of my,
pictures
like,
right when
this
it's
and
clean.
my maiden name is Victoria. It's just like, we have a thing, great grandpa, it's like, so we just go out there and sometimes, like when I'm in Bushwick. Yeah, we have a good.
Okay.
Oh, cool. Cool. Heidi's married to Brian, and her family's been there for years. They're not in Spain now.
I'm both like thrilled, and I'm also like,
But they are big surfers and stuff. So
I mean, it's ready, fire, aim for a good while. Just
cool is that?
Here's homeowner
They're
tips.
from there. Like, grew up there. You grew up
So,
there.
just getting color.
I just don't know. If I don't
It's
know.
like if you're gonna eat an elephant, how you gonna do it?
They've,
One bite at a
husband
time.
was on Facebook for you. But
That's
I got
a
a
lot
little-
of what I'm figuring out. Is maybe firing. Literally
It's
building
funny.
as I go. Like, okay, what's the next step? I build it.
I love Green Apple. I lived in the South for a long time.
Thank you so much, Dan.
I'll see if I can find it. But yeah, thank you. But yeah, I love Huntington. Do they still have the pit, or the fire pit? For a while. I'm so glad they did it. Good. I signed it too. I was in Tennessee at the time when I signed it. Yup. It's gotten really cool. My brother last week. Everything. You know, goals. It was a section on goals. But it was like setting your why. And remember, you have a hey, your wife is down here. She's like, I don't know where it is. I'm like, but it was the life of what it is, and how much you need for like why. And then they said, right now, we like advertise the house. You know that they cap out here. In my home, but I they cap out. So it's going out like what you want where you know where you're with the that. Well, actually, so out of time together, and then you have to make it 9,000. Divide that by all that works. Trying to be more, you know, both of them are required same contact road. This is Dr. Billy Cole's talked about like knocking on doors and the order. Like it's just like so that's good. That is something that we all nervous. I know. Oh, I'm in half. My brother does advertising video. I'm in half. I hope we'll get that one. Okay, bye. Oh, you guys know where this goes?
Travis was